Howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Tableau's TC16 conference. We're here at the VentureBeat stage in the JW Marriott facility. There's different buildings around here. We're in the JW on the third floor off in the corner if you want to come and say hi. I've got with me, our next interview is Matt Chambers, data architect, Clemson University. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So Clemson, got a lot of stuff going on just in general.
Yeah.
Second best football team.
Number 2 in the country.
Data analytics.
Yep. Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah, Clemson's only lost one game in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, it's the only one that counts. National championship, so.
Yeah.
But still, it's been a crazy run. Yeah. a lot of cool things going on at the university. A lot of growth. Building a lot of new buildings. A lot of new students coming in. So it's a great time at Clemson.
Awesome. And you've been with them for how long now?
8 years.
Okay, holy cow, so you've been around for quite a while.
Yep.
And so we were just talking, you started out as a software dev and then moved into analytics role.
Right. So originally I was building full stack applications. I was writing the database code, writing the back end, building the front end, building the entire platform, and then doing the analysis on top of the platform that I was building. Once I discovered Tableau, it was really night and day as far as like my performance increase, being able to turn out content instead of having to write code to build a platform, to build analytics on. Like I can just go into Tableau, connect to the data sources, pull in the data and answer questions. So it's really increased my performance.
Cool, and you liked it so much, you went that route?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't written code in almost a year, so. Besides like writing SQL for database and stuff like that, but yeah, building apps and things, I really don't do that as much anymore.
Very, very cool. Cool, so we were just talking about the different ways that you guys use Tableau, a lot of very interesting, maybe kind of ways that folks haven't thought of before.
Yeah, so I work in finance at Clemson, but we kind of run the gamut of different data sources at the university. We work in, obviously, budgets and actuals, but then we also work in human resources, space planning and management, and also enrollment management as far as predicting our revenues from our predicted enrollments.
Cool. So the space planning in particular, could you walk us through, because that was really, we were just talking for a couple minutes about that.
Yeah, so that's one of our cooler applications of Tableau. So we've actually taken working with the campus planning team, we've taken the maps that they've built in ArcGIS and converted them into polygons so we can build polygon maps in Tableau, and we can kind of see a living map of our campus. So we can see, the different buildings can be colored by different metrics, like utilization of the buildings or energy usage, whatever you want to look at from that perspective. And then when you click on a building, you can actually drill down to the rooms that are inside of it. Wow. So you can see each room individually, how it's been utilized.
Wow, so energy usage, I wasn't expecting to hear that. You're actually plugged into the school's thermostat system?
We have that. We work with a vendor called Johnson Controls that we get data from in that perspective, but we also have some classrooms that utilize a new type of light from Philips that actually sends data out on usage.
Super cool.
And the lights can actually detect how many people are in the room, that kind of thing, yeah. So it's pretty
That's
pretty
not
advanced.
Hue is their commercial, right? This is an industrial thing, I think.
Right, it's in one of our newest buildings on campus, the Y Innovation Center.
Wow.
That building was just built within the last year, but it's kind of our flagship state-of-the-art technology building on campus. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So how did this all come together? Like, did you go to them, or they came to you, or?
Well, part of what we do and what I do specifically is just evangelizing data analytics and using Tableau on campus. So I go out and meet with a lot of different areas. Everyone on campus, all of the areas need help in data analytics and visualization, and it's really starting to expand on campus. A lot of the areas on campus are now hiring their own analytics and visualization managers. So it's kind of like what we've done with some of our initiatives, like some of our Board of Trustees initiatives has kind of sparked that drive within the other areas on campus to start to build their own content and be able to push it out through Tableau server to keep their constituents informed and let them be able to make data-driven decisions.
Wow, that is very cool. So are you starting to notice, is it becoming like a decentralized model then? It started out, everybody came to you and they're all kind of starting to do their own thing? Or?
Right, like we're still really evolving at Clemson. We're still early in the process, but so our area kind of leads most of the charge and just kind of pushing out what we're working on and showing people how to do different things with Tableau. But yeah, different areas are starting to put together their own teams. And then at some point, we'll have to make the jump to enterprise, and then we've got to try to figure out how to get everyone back together all on one server and everything. So we actually have our own server right now for finance specifically. And we do bring in other areas onto our server. We give them their own site and give them their own admin, and they manage all that.
That's really cool. Yeah, and you mentioned something else you guys did that was really innovative, the Reviz project. Can you tell us the goals behind that and the whole story? It's really interesting.
Right. So the Reviz project is something that Nelson Davis, Alex Duke, and I worked on outside of work. So the idea of it is that we all wanted to become better data storytellers. So for me personally, last year I was a competitor in the Iron Viz competition that Tableau puts on. That's going to be later on this afternoon.
Right, their version of Iron Chef.
Right.
Yeah.
So you actually have to build a visualization in 20 minutes in front of like 5,000 people.
No pressure.
Yeah. So last year, what won my spot in the Iron Viz was very technical and statistical, and I come from a really strong tech background.
Right.
And so I kind of thought that that's what would win the actual competition too, and after I actually built my visualization, it didn't really resonate with people. And to me, that made me realize, like, well, maybe I'm like not communicating it because I'm so used to working with the data. It's just second nature to me. So that's something I've been working on this last year, is like being able to build visual narratives, because like having the context with the visuals, like the actual narrative, is what really helps with the understanding, not just putting out a bunch of visuals and hoping someone interprets it. Like, you need that like context.
Sure, what does that mean?
Right, to help people move along the story and understand the key points that you're trying to make.
That is very cool. And we were talking this, like this has moved on. It's become a bigger thing inside of Clemson, and other departments, board of trustees are using it, and they're able to, because like you said, everybody has their strengths, right? We each come from a different background, we each have different perspectives, and when we look at the same picture, we sometimes see different things. And getting that from election, right? So many people saw something different, and now we're all fighting. Finally, it's the same thing. We're starting to realize, wow, these other people saw these other things, right?
So with the Reviz project, we were taking, like, one person would take a data set, build a visualization, and then the other two would take that same data set and kind of take a different spin on it. So that's how we kind of tried to improve our visual storytelling skills. But through the Reviz project, some of the techniques that we are using outside of work for fun, we started to implement in our jobs as well. So what you mentioned with the board of trustees, so our CFO would have to do quarterly financial presentations on different metrics that the board are interested in. So we actually took like all of his old PowerPoint presentations and rebuilt them all into Tableau story points.
Very cool.
And now we connect them against the actual data. So whenever we push in the new data, all of the visuals update. And then we also have the majority of the commentary created dynamically through calculations. So like the actual call outs or KPIs from the data are all updated as well.
Totals,
so basically,
mean, average, blah, blah, blah.
Right, so that lets us put out content much more frequently, but also allows us to get through kind of like our board meeting cycles quicker, because we don't have to actually go rebuild all the visuals by hand in Excel or PowerPoint.
Smart.
We just push the new data in, and then an analyst verifies that all the KPIs are correct and kind of proofread everything, and then we push it out of the board. And they love that because they can get it on their computer, their desktop, their laptop, their iPad, whereas before,
It's all locked in Excel or
or they would actually, have to call us and be like, remember this presentation, can you email us this visual?
You got to drop what you were doing, try to remember what you did last year.
Because they work with legislators a lot, and legislators are concerned with like affordability and that kind of thing. So they can have that at their fingertips now. They can show Clemson as affordable.
Cool.
They don't have to rely on us to push that content to them. They can get it whenever they want. We are also pushing out our budget versus actuals reports to them every month. So previously they would get like this crosstab view every quarter that it was informative, but you would actually have to look at the numbers and subtract them in your head, or you would have to be looking at specific categories of revenue or expenses.
Didn't jump out at you.
Right, but now our new version so we basically took that crosstab and built a visual dashboard out of it that shows you obviously like where you need to be looking if we have a predicted fund shortage, or we're looking at categories where we're actually doing better than expected in revenue generation. At Clemson, we do a lot of sales, and we call it sales and service, but it's like contracts that we have with usually government entities like Medicaid or Medicare. So we actually do like claims processing for the Medicaid, Medicare, CMMS.
I see, cool. And that's, you guys basically just incorporated this in your daily work, and this is something that you do pretty much every day now.
Yep, so that's, one of the biggest things about the Tableau community in general is everyone's so willing to share the techniques that they come up with. And then that's where you get a lot of inspiration for new ways to visualize things, or you see a cool technique that someone's implemented in Tableau that you really didn't know it could do. Sure. A lot of the work that I do outside in my free time and kind of give back to the community is usually related to mapping.
Okay.
I do a lot of custom mapping techniques.
Really hot topic these days.
Right. So one of my most viewed blog posts is, have you seen some of the maps where they, instead of a traditional map, the states are hexagons or tiles?
Sure. Yeah.
So I saw that in NPR and I was like, that's pretty cool. I wonder if you can do that in Tableau. So I actually figured out how to build it and just wrote up a quick blog post how to and put it out, and people use it like crazy. It's always my most viewed blog post. And just recently I also figured out how to build 538's Electoral College, choropleth maps.
Yeah. Is that the hexagonal ones?
It's like the number of hexagons is how many Electoral College votes.
Sure. Yep.
So I actually built that, and that one I just put out, and other people were using it because, that, in my opinion, that's one of the better ways to represent the impact of the Electoral College. The Northeast states in a traditional map are tiny, but in that kind of map, you see that visual weight of their the votes that they carry. So.
Sure. Totally. Yeah, big blob in the left, bottom, and bottom and right. And I'm sure your experience as a Tableau Zen master helps a lot with your ability to do all this. Can you explain a little bit about what that is? You're the first one we've had on today.
Yeah. So the Zen Master program, it's not really like a checklist that you do this and this and this and you'll be a Zen master.
Yep.
Tableau has an internal team that. So originally, it starts with the community nominations. The Tableau community nominates people that they think are worthy of being Zen Masters. And then from that list, Tableau's internal team picks who they think should be a Zen Master for that year. Zen Master is a one-year appointment.
But it's limited too, right?
No, you can have it consecutively, but you have to keep.
Well, I'm saying the number that they give out, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's this year it was 27. It goes up a few every year, so I'm not really sure how they pick the amount of people that they choose. But so the main facets of it are mastery of the product. So part of that is usually having a Tableau public profile or a blog where you show your work, or you have to have a really great data visualization portfolio. Tableau public is where most of my work is, so that's one of the factors. The other factor is being able to teach. You have to give back. You can't just take what everyone else does and make a bunch of stuff. You have to give back your own techniques, and that's one of the things I really try to contribute back is specifically in mapping. This year, most of the techniques that I wrote blogs about were different mapping techniques, like I mentioned earlier.
Gotcha. Very cool. And so how many years have you been in the Zen Master program?
This is my first year.
Oh, your first year. And you've got to reapply every year?
Well, you have to be nominated again, and then the internal team has to select you again.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you guys get some secret chat room where you can do all your cool stuff, or is it kind of everybody just?
Yeah, we do have ways to communicate and that kind of thing.
Cool. So how does one go about attaining that? It's pretty prestigious. 27 people per year on planet Earth are allowed to have this. If somebody that was watching wanted to go and try this.
Obviously, just continuing to hone your craft in data visualization specifically. Just knowing best practices, what chart types to use to present different types of data. So those are the basics basically, just learning what chart types to use for specific situations. And then once you move on past that, just continuing to build things in Tableau, experiment, learn new techniques, and then once you get to that level of comfort where you can start creating new techniques, then you're getting close to being
eligible,
ready for Zen Master, And then I would say also continuing to build your portfolio.
Cool.
I'm closing in on 1 million views on my data visualization work, and
It's huge.
yeah,
Congrats, man. That's really cool.
And I'm a small town boy from South Carolina. Like I never
Right.
thought I would put my work in front of that many people. So it's really a great channel to put yourself out there, put your work out there.
Totally. And I love the way they do it too, because they kind of encourage you to do that, to give back, to show everybody,
Right.
to democratize the stuff, and you can build something on top of what somebody gave you.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Vice versa, so.
Yeah, and you'll see it all the time. So that, like I was mentioning, the 538 thing, like I literally just built that map and put it out, and then another group took that and built a predictive model, and they're actually pushing their predictions into that map. So
That is really cool.
yeah.
So the model is just basically, for those who don't know, like it's just basically code, right? Or
I'm really not sure what's under the covers on their model. It could just be an Excel model.
say the map that you built.
Oh yeah. So
You use Tableau.
right. So in Tableau, you can use the polygon tool.
Okay.
So most of the custom maps that I do are using polygons and then mapping the coordinates of the points to create the maps.
I see. Cool. Awesome. So what have you've been here 2 years, is that right?
This is
3
my
years?
third conference.
Third conference, right? What's your favorite thing this time around?
Devs on stage is always one of my favorite things, just to be able to see the actual developers of Tableau show off what they're working on. I know that's got to be a great feeling for them. Because I used to be a software developer too, so I know how it is if you're putting in all this time, putting in the sweat and everything, writing code. Like sometimes you want to be the one to show off what you actually worked on. So I always like that they get the opportunity to do that. Plus we get to see the new features that are coming out. And then also the keynote, we get to see kind of the roadmap a few years from now, what they're planning on rolling out. So those are the things that really get me excited, because I'm always thinking about how I'm going to use those things down the road to continue to push our analytics platforms at Clemson.
Cool. And what things like, a lot of changes this year. There's like
Yeah.
10,000, or no, the stuff that's coming out over the next
Right.
6 to 36 months.
The data governance and data management stuff is what really gets me excited right now. Previously, most of the keynotes have been focused on specific features within Tableau, which are great for creators, which I am. I'm a content creator, but I also have a dual role as kind of the architect too. So I'm building the platforms, doing the integration, doing the data certification, data validation. I'm not
a lot of work.
Right, like I'm not the person that signs off on a data set, but I have to work with the people that are like institutional research. And like tools like that are really going to make it easy for us to build certified data sources, and then make sure that institutional research is able to keep them up to date, validated, add new data elements, make sure that people in different roles on the university have access to their specific data sources.
Right. And only them, yeah.
Right, and that also allows newcomers to university to hit their ground running, because if based on their job role they have access to these data sources, they open Tableau and it's all there. They don't have to request access from a DBA or go through the whole IT chain to get access to the source data. It's all in the pre-built data sources, and they're all certified and validated. So those are the things those are the things that really get me excited about, like the broader adoption of Tableau.
Cool. And so what if there's somebody out there, in your role at another university, and they want to get this going, and they're here for the conference the first time, what advice could you share with them? Because I'm sure there's no shortage of folks in that position.
Yeah, there are a lot of sessions that are focused on specifically on higher ed. My first year, I started kind of going to those, and I started kind of hearing a lot of the same issues that we had. And I met a few people at some of those sessions that were a little further along than us, and kind of tried to get some of their insights on how we can push things along. So that was helpful to actually just meet people
and just
that are in the same.
The amount of collaboration here, and just people are so open, and it's a very hugging conference. Everybody kind of shares,
And you can meet people that are further along than you too. That's a big thing. But on the other hand, I would also recommend going to things that are just outside of your world. I mean, so in the whole reason I got into Tableau Public and the Tableau community is because I went to a session on Tableau Public and blogging.
Okay.
Before I went to that session, it was my first year at the conference, I had no idea that like anyone was doing that.
That's really cool.
So I went to this session, and I'm like, these people are just doing this for fun. Like they're interested in things. They find the data. They make something to express whatever insights they're trying to find, or it could just be something that they just want to be creative about. They want to visualize something creatively that might not be appropriate for like a business environment, but from an artistic perspective, you know, they can actually create things that look really cool too.
Absolutely.
So
it's kind of like the phenomenon with so many software developers being musicians, right? Guitarists or pianists or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of stuff I do on Tableau Public is for artistic expression.
Really
just
cool.
to express the creativity that you might not get to in traditional business environments, but it's also really fun to build something like that and put it out and
Awesome.
see what kind of feedback you get on it.
So what is your blog? You got to tell folks out there.
It's called Servisalot.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago at the conference, Sir Mix-a-Lot performed there, and everyone had like funny like Viz names, and I thought that would be a funny name. So it's
Claimed a good one.
Yeah, so
and you actually have the domain, Servisalot?
It's servisalot.blogspot.com.
Got it.
So if you search Servisalot Tableau on Google, you'll find it. It's like
Very cool.
really easy to find. So yeah, I have a lot of popular tutorials on there, and like most of my work is on there as well. So
Cool. Matt Chambers, Clemson University, thank you so much.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Great talk.
Yep.
Take care. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back in a couple minutes with our next interview.